So like most 16-year-olds were like super cute trying to like discover makeup and wearing cute clothes, right? Well, this is what I looked like when I was 16. Hey guys, FallenBeyond, and I'm back with my iPod rubber banded to a pull on a light that I am actually not using because it's still daylight out this time. So today's video is kind of inspired by my cousin because I was telling her some funny stories the other night when I was listening to a paranormal podcast, and me and my vivid imagination assumed every single sound was a ghost, and I started listening to a murder podcast to make myself feel better after that. But like, I started talking to her and I started telling her stories about how like my family, as in my dad, my brother, and I would like try to scare each other every Halloween and all that. And then I told her this one really funny story about the Grudge, which is what I'm going to tell you guys today. So, the picture I used for the intro, that's me when I was 16. I started working at a horror attraction that year. The year before, when I was 15, I was working at a friend's haunted house, and my character was like, it was like a insane asylum theme. So like my character was like a crazy patient locked in a cage. So I sat in the dog cage and I rattled the bars and I'd thrash around and scream and say creepy things to people. And I decided I liked that a lot, that I wanted to work at a real haunted house. And I had a friend who worked at one, and he was like, yeah, if you go and sign up for it, just mention my name, you'll probably get like a spot right away. So the next year I went to the audition where I was like scared as hell, and I got in. There's kind of a fun story behind that, so if you guys want to hear that and like my stories working at like a Halloween haunt, I don't know if I can say the name or not. I mean, I might, but like if you guys want to hear my stories about working at Halloween haunt, which I have quite a few, let me know. Otherwise, people on Snapchat are going to tell me, or I'm just going to do it myself probably around October. But like, let me know and I'll tell you guys. But that picture is from when I worked there, and I was pretty much the Grudge, because when my hair is wet, I'm like half Asian, so my hair is kind of like heavier than normal. When my hair is wet, my hair tends to fall in my face, and I look like the freaking Grudge. So yeah, and I have a Grudge story that doesn't involve me at all, but that was me when I was 16 and going through my Grudge phase. Okay, saying that my story doesn't involve the Grudge at all, I mean, doesn't involve me at all, is kind of false, because it was involved me, but I wasn't the Grudge, that's what I meant. So, this story takes place in the house I live in right now. It's the third house I've ever lived in. My first two houses I lived in, I swear, were haunted. Reasons why I can tell you some other time. But so, I was about 15. Yeah, I was about 15 because I moved into this house, and it was like one of my first nights sleeping alone, because before we got all our bedroom stuff moved in, my family, we all slept in the living room. But it was one of the like first couple of weeks after I got my room set up with like the one bookshelf I had, my sister's old toy chest, which I kept all my craft stuff in, and then my day bed, which I had before I got my loft. So I had like a normal bed on the floor, no ladder or anything. I mean, you know what a day bed is. So still getting used to sleeping by myself. Sleeping in new places, I'm kind of on edge, so I usually like to hide under a bunch of blankets and all that. Sometimes I'm a light sleeper, sometimes I'm a heavy sleeper. It depends on how exhausted I am. But one of the things that will almost always wake me up is if someone puts their hand on my doorknob, it'll wake me up. Or if you just open my door, I will wake up. Or obviously someone looking at me. Not fun. But like, yeah, so I have two windows in my room. I got this big one over here where this light's coming from, and then I have another one that's at the foot of my bed. I've always kept my bed in this corner. It's at the foot of my bed, and it's just a narrow window. It's half the size of this big one. And in case you want to see, that's this big one. And then the other one I have is like half the size. But yeah, whenever I'm on the side of the corner of the house where whenever there's a full moon out, the moon will shine in through both windows pretty nicely, especially if it's super full. I don't remember if I had blinds on all my windows or not. I don't have a blind on that window, but this one I do. But I can't remember if I have it or not. Probably don't, because there was a pretty big, hefty, like, square moonlight there. But, so it was, yeah, this is the only house I'm pretty sure wasn't haunted. So when I saw this, it really scared me, and I was like, oh no, this is the worst one. Then maybe this house is haunted after all, because I was just obviously asleep one night, and then I wake up for some reason, So I just look at the moonlight. I'm like, maybe the moonlight woke me up because it's bright and I was just coming out from a deep stage of sleep. And then I look towards the door to see maybe it opened. Someone opened. Maybe my mom opened it or something to look at me. And I look over there, and then my stomach just drops because one, the door is closed, like completely closed, just how I left it before I went to sleep. Then two, in the darkest corner of my room by the door, because it's like a nook. I'll probably show you guys sometime, but it's like a little nook there, so it's darker and moonlight and sunlight doesn't really reach it very well unless it's like noon and it's coming in from the big window. So it was dark at this time of night because it was like in the middle of the night. I don't know what time it was because I was too scared to look at the clock. And also another thing you guys should know is I am nearsighted. I'm wearing contacts right now. I can see like a foot in front of my face clearly and everything else is blurry. I can still see, but things are just blurry. So if you want me to like drive or read, don't, because it's not gonna happen. I can't see unless I have my contacts or glasses on. But yeah, so I see something moving and I don't know what it is yet because it's outside the moonlight. But then all of a sudden this long dark hair hits the moonlight and I'm just like, oh fuck. Because I'm lying in bed, there's this creepy thing with black hair and a white dress just like the Grudge standing by, well not standing but like on all four by the door. And I'm like, this is my worst nightmare because ever since I was little, I was always afraid of anything with like long black hair and all that. And I was afraid of the Grudge and any kind of Japanese or like Southeast Asian ghost that looks like that. I'm afraid of all like Southeast Asian ghosts. I mean, come on. They're pretty creepy. But like, yeah, so I'm lying there and I'm like, what do I do? Because I decided to stay still and like keep my eyes half shut. Because one, I didn't want this thing to notice I was awake and like attack me or look at me or something, because I was like, I'd probably die of fear. And then two, I contemplated screaming, but I was like, well then that thing's gonna know that I'm awake, and what if my parents don't get to me in time? And so I just choked down a scream because I was about to scream when I saw that. And then my third option, which was what I went with, was to attack it. So I was just lying there. And I was like frozen, but then I was like, okay, I'm gonna attack it, because whenever fight or flight happens, I usually freeze first, and then I automatically go into fight response, and then I decided I'd grab my pillow, and I would lunge off my bed, and then just like pretty much beat the crap out of this thing with my pillow, or like hold the pillow in its face while I screamed for help and wait for my parents to come assist me in the middle of the goddamn night. So as soon as I grabbed the pillow, I wasn't scared anymore. I was like really angry, which is usually how I get from fight and flight to fight mode. I get really scared and I just get pissed instead. So I grabbed this pillow and I'm about ready to like launch myself off the bed. So I get to sitting up and I'm about to like launch off. But once I sit up, I notice something on the nightgown. There's these like black blotches on it. And then so I'm like squinching, and then I just stopped and I was like, wait a second. I know that dress. Because the black splotches, I realized, were like little cats, and my mom has this nightgown with like this white nightgown with like black cats with like pajamas on it. And so when I stopped halfway from launching off the bed, and I was just like, Mom? And then all of a sudden the thing puts its finger to its mouth and it's like, shh, go back to sleep. And she says my name, telling me go back to sleep, and it was my mom. And I just sat there and I was like, what is going on? I was speechless because I was like, okay, one, she scared the shit out of me. Two, I almost attacked my own mother. And three, what was she doing in my room on all four, crawling towards my window, scaring the shit out of me for? And my mom usually doesn't like scaring people, because whenever my dad, my brother, and I scare each other, she gets really mad at us for doing that, because she doesn't like our loud reactions. She's like afraid someone's gonna like go into shock or have to be taken to the hospital because they're scared so bad. But like, my family isn't really that easily startled. So she's doing that, and she crawls to the window, and she like, and I finally managed to say something, and I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? And she's like, I just smelled something like someone smoking cigarettes outside your window. I didn't question what smelled like cigarettes or anything, or why she thinks someone was outside my window. I was just sitting there in shock, like, she just scared the shit out of me, and I almost attacked my own mother, and I would have felt so bad if I didn't stop myself in time to notice that it was her. And I just sat there and I was like, what the hell, Mom? And so she just peeks out my window, and I'm just sitting there in my bed hole, hugging my pillow, like, what is going on? And then so she peeks out my window, and she turns around, she just sits there, and she's like, yeah, you sleeping good? And I was like, you just scared me. No. And so she's just like, oh, okay. And she just crawls back out, and when she finally gets back to, like, Nook, she stands up, opens the door, walks out and closes it, and tells me to go to sleep and have a good night. And I was just lying there like, okay then, and I fall flat back, like, fall straight back on my bed, just flat back, and I pretty much fell right back asleep after that, because I was tired, and that was more excitement than I signed up for that night. So next morning, I go out there. As soon as I don't even, like, change. I usually brush my teeth and stuff first before I say anything to anyone, because I am dead in the morning. But, like, that morning, I didn't care. I went out there with my drinking glass. I slammed on the counter. I look at my mom like, Mom, what the fuck? Do you know how close I was to attacking you? Like, if I didn't recognize you, you would have had me tackle you and beat you with my pillow. Like, don't do that. Why were you in my room? And she was like, why would you beat your mother? I was just checking up on you. And I'm like, you don't crawl on all four, Mom, because you looked like the Grudge and you were wearing a white dress, so I thought you were the Grudge until I saw your cat's pajamas, because you know I have bad eyesight. You shouldn't be doing that, because I didn't know it was you until it was almost too late. And I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about with the smell of cigarettes or whatever outside my window. And she just sat there nodding, like, oh, okay, whatever. And I told my dad was just as mad as me. He's just like, yeah, she shouldn't have been doing that, because you're big enough now it's like you could actually hurt her. And I'm like, yeah, and if I had my knife, what if I, like, conked her out with the icebreaker? All my knives have, like, glass breakers on them, and so usually I prep myself to use that in case of self-defense, because I don't want to stab anyone. But, like, usually I use that if I feel like I need to defend myself. But, yeah, so my dad was just as mad as me. I was like, Mom, you could have got hurt. So we were both, like, lecturing her, like, you do not go into someone's room in the middle of the night, crawling on the floor, just creeping around the room. And my mom hasn't done that ever since. And ever since I got my loft, she doesn't come to my room anymore. Like, she finally, like, stopped. And there's so many other times my mom has scared me. Like, she gets mad at people for, like, scaring each other, but then she scares me unintentionally. And she doesn't understand this stuff's creepy, and my reaction right away is when something scares me is to, like, freaking fight it. So, and I get that from her. Cause, like, I would accidentally walk into a room, she wouldn't hear me, and there's so many times she almost swung around and, like, I don't remember called, but, like, circle kicked me and all that. Like, she knows judo. So many times she's almost kicked me in the face because I walked into the room too quietly, and she turns around and I'm right there, and she's almost, like, body slammed me or something. But, like, she always does these creepy things at night when we're traveling. Like, last time we were traveling, I was sharing a bed with my brother, and I was on the inside corner. My mom was I was, like, barely awake. She was at one corner of the room, but then she turned around and she looked at me, and I closed my eyes. When I opened them again, she's standing over me, staring down straight at me, and I, like, jerked awake, and I was like, Mom, you don't do that. If you did that to me on a day where I was, like, more sleepy than I was right now, I would have punched you in the face. So don't do that. And she still hasn't fully learned, but she knows not to do it at home now, because I do have heavy objects near my bed, like books and big journals and stuff that I could chuck at her. So she stopped that. But that was the time that the Grudge came into my room and scared the bejesus out of me, only to be my mother. So, yeah. So, side note, guys, if your mother is Asian, don't let her crawl in your room with a white nightgown, because you're gonna feel like you're gonna die in that moment. And also, if you are an Asian mother, please don't crawl on your kids' floors in the middle of the night like my mother did. Why would you do that? So yeah, that's my story for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I have a couple other stories that start out scary, only to be something funny in the end. So, like, there's a camping one and all that. So, I hope you guys enjoyed my story. Sorry if I ramble a little much. I'm still trying to, like, get the hang of this, and I don't like doing so many cuts, because whenever things cut a lot in the video, it annoys me. Maybe I'll tell you guys some, like, of my stories from the Halloween haunts. Otherwise, I might save that for later in the year. I don't know, because I have no idea why I'm doing it. This may also be my last video for a while, because the semester starts next week, and I have 2 writing classes, and I also work a part-time job, and I also work for myself, so I will probably be super busy. But I hope you guys have a good rest of the January in 2018. I hope New Year's was happy for you guys. Valentine's Day is coming up next, so happy Valentine's Day, even though it's like, what, January 5th right now. Alright, so I'm gonna end this here before I keep rambling. So, see you guys. Hope to tell you more stories in the future, and maybe I can get some of the fun videos out sometime around the summer at the latest, or fall. Hopefully before fall though. Alright, I'm FallenBeyond, and I will see you next time.